Hey everybody, welcome to Xtreme Lyfe. On this episode, this is Xtreme Lyfe 55. On this episode, I have Chrissy Yandolli coming on. She is awesome. She's a pro MMA fighter based in kickboxing, but don't let that fool you. She has a ground game too, and we find out all this stuff on the podcast. Really cool person. Hopefully, she'll be fighting again soon. We're coming to the tail end, hopefully, of this pandemic craziness, and we'll start seeing some events happening again. I'm really excited about it, but this was a really fun conversation. I know you're going to love Chrissy. She was awesome. Check out this podcast. You'll learn a lot. We talk about, of course, MMA and a bit of everything else. So, check it out. I had fun with it. I hope you do too. And remember, check us out. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on the Facebook or wherever social media you have. You could also download this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Particularly we're on Liberated Syndication, and anywhere they post up to, we're going to be on. So check out the Xtreme Lyfe podcast from Xtreme Lyfe Media. I'm Steve D, your host. Enjoy the show.
On behalf of your host, Steve D, this is Bruce Buffer saying thank you for tuning in to Xtreme Lyfe. And now, this is the moment Xtreme Lyfe fans around the world have been waiting for. It's time!
I appreciate that, but yeah, no, it's I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. I always like having people on that can share different perspectives, because I'm a big fan of the warrior mentality, the warrior mindset, the fight game. I mean, I've interviewed a lot of people, and
I know a lot of my friends. I saw.
Yeah. I think Diana Caravas. I think yes. Jenny Nadell. Jenny's one of my favorite humans. Really cool person. Just nothing great but great things to say about her. And everybody I've had the thing about fighters that's interesting to me is that there's this humility that I think comes with being a fighter, right? Something that other people don't.
Yeah, right. People expect fighters to be like these violent humans that just walk around trying to start fights, but meanwhile, that's the last thing that we are.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's so true. I mean, a fighter already has kind of that, I've tested myself. I know what I can do. I don't really need to prove it. I don't need to walk around, get beer muscles and all this other crap that other people do. I really don't need to do. I mean, there are exceptions to every rule, but but that's generally not my experience with people in the fight game. So, but it's great that you're on. Now, I just want to kind of go through some things here just to make sure I have everything correct too. I mean, you turned pro. You turned pro last year, correct?
No. Oh, I turned pro 5 years ago.
Okay, all right. For some reason, I have the wrong information, and
That's right. No, and I had a bad knee. I had my third knee surgery, so I kind of came back 2 years ago.
Okay. All right. So you came in, you turned pro, you had some stuff going on with your knees. I mean, knee issues.
Oh, I've had 3 surgeries. I've been fighting for 20 years.
Okay. All right. So that brings me to another. What got you into it? What made you decide, hey, I want to do this. This is something for me. What got you into MMA? I mean, there's always a favorite part of the story for me.
Story, right? How many people just volunteer to get punched in the face? But I was one of the people. Literally volunteered to get punched in the face. It was after I was in college, and I always did sports, team sports, whatever, growing up. And I was in college, and so I'm a little bit of a late bloomer. And my friend invited me to this smoker local show, this kickboxing show. And he's like, hey, do you want to come to this fight? My brother-in-law is fighting. And I'm like, what are you talking about? In the parking lot? Is this legal? What are you guys doing? And I walk into this event. I mean, the place is not even around anymore, but it's this like convention room, whatever. I walk in and the energy in this little room was so high and crazy. And I'm like, all right, this is cool. Let's see what this is about. And then I got to see like kickboxing. And it was the first time I really saw kickboxing. I mean, I've seen boxing and stuff before, you know, but then I saw people like kicking. And back then it was all like American kickboxing, like above the waist with like the red booties and stuff. And I noticed there was like no girls on the card. And I was like, I want to do this. So I had this little paper that was like the program. It was literally one sheet of paper folded in half, like black and white, no color, no pictures, like very generic. And I found a gym that had a fighter and I went there and I was like, hi, I want to fight. And they were like, okay. And that's pretty much, that's it. That's how
it happened, right? You just kind of walked in, you say, I want to do this. Now, what was I mean, they were like, okay. Did you get like a response? Because I hear a lot of people like, oh no, here we go again. Somebody wants to come in here and they're going to be here for about a week and a half.
Yeah. Well, the gym I walked into, again, like at the time, not knowing a thing about this world. Like I was a track person. Like I didn't know anything about martial arts. I never did martial arts in my life. Yeah. I did track, gymnastics, and soccer. Like this, wasn't my wheelhouse. So I actually walked into a gym that was like a Japanese jiu-jitsu gym that had like 2 kickboxing classes a week. So they tried to get me into jits and I was like, okay, I mean, I didn't really want to do this, but whatever, I'll try it. And I fought like 3 weeks later, which really wasn't the smartest idea because I had no idea what was going on. I think I'd taken like a total of 8 classes. And the girl that I'm fighting is like throwing kicks that I didn't even know yet, but whatever, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, no, everybody has that story where they got in the first time they get in the ring, their first experience in the cage, the ring, whatever it is. I mean, because everybody has something different these days. It's like, it's a circle, it's a square, it's an octagon, it's this, I don't know what the hell, everybody,
My biggest mistake and my biggest regret of my first fight was wearing a white tank top.
Oh, okay.
It was pink when I was done.
Yeah, blood definitely resonates on white. Anytime you're.
Even if I knew what I was doing, it would have looked bad. Like,
yeah. Well, the thing is, when you get into MMA, it just takes one good shot to the face to get you bleeding. Oh, yes. And then once you start, sometimes it's not that much. And then other times, if you keep getting pounded in it, it just keeps getting worse and worse. Yeah. The water faucet goes on. And, we've all seen the mat after, a night of events, and it's like pink. It's no longer white. It's totally pink.
And that was me. I was pink when I left. I was like, why would I wear white? Like,
was it yours or the other person's?
Oh, no, it was totally mine. It was like the first time I ever got hit in the nose. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, my nose was like, what's that? It was, and it wasn't anything serious, to be honest. Yeah. It was just like a random bloody.
Yeah. Yep.
But between like the blood, the sweat, and then the water, it was just everywhere. Like I was covered.
Man. Yeah. And like I said, it's that same story you get, and you're coming back after some knee injuries. I mean, how are your knees now? Are they feeling better? Are you feeling good?
They're great. I've had 3 knee surgeries, and every time I've injured my knee, it had nothing to do with fighting.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that might be good. It might be better.
Yeah. My knee surgeon's like, can we stop playing sports we don't get paid for? Because that'd be great. And I was like, okay. So yeah. Now we stick to the fight game. No more soccer, no more skiing, none of that stuff.
Outside. No, you're playing it safe on the other stuff, right? Well, when it comes down to your, this is something I'm assuming, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say this is probably what your love is and what you really want to do. So, to risk other things. I mean, hey, I'm all about, sports and different things. Hey, you could ask Jenny if you want, I'm a multi-sport person. I do a lot of stuff, and it sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes not so much,
Yeah.
I mean, I walk around very tight all the time because, I do a lot of lifting, and then I go into the, I go into the gym and start throwing kicks, and I'm like, oh man, that ain't working. That ain't working for me. So I mean, there's something to be said about training in multi-sports, but there's also something to be said about not overdoing it and getting yourself injured doing something that you're not going to, generally make a living at. Right.
Yeah. There was definitely a time when I was playing soccer 3 days a week and then training 6 days a week. And then like in the weekends going skiing and like all that other stuff. And it was just like, all right. Let's take all that energy and just keep training with that energy. Like no reason.
Active recovery. Recovery. That's what.
My coach is like, what do you do on Sundays? I'm like, oh, play soccer and softball. What do you do?
Well,
he's like, stop. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, cut it out. Well, that's like what I used to do that when I was doing a lot of competitions. I would like, what are you doing on your days off? Well, I ran 5 miles yesterday. Well, that's not a day off. They yell at me. They literally yell at me about, that kind of stuff because, your body does need a break. You can't just drive.
If I'm not getting punched or kicked in the face, like that's a day off for me. So I always thought of like soccer and like, but soccer sometimes, I don't know. So women's soccer is a contact sport at times.
Oh, it's rough. Yeah.
And, when it gets me to a certain point, like, I've leg kicked a girl in soccer. I've gotten a yellow card. I've walked off the field, like pretty mad about it. But, I'm like, crap, I'm in the wrong place. Like,
yeah. And if you're that, here's the thing. A competitive athlete, from what I've experienced as a competitive athlete, no matter what, right? Whether you're doing your sport of choice or you're doing something else or, you're still going to have that mindset, right? I'm going to go in.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter if I was playing water polo, right? Which I've never done in my life. And I think it's extremely cruel to the horses. But no, just kidding. They don't really use horses. But the thing is that.
For a second, like, what? That was good. You got me.
No, that's all right. But no, no matter what it is, you're going to go into it with that. I'm going to win. I need to win.
Oh, yeah.
I want to win. Whatever it takes to get there. And that's what makes
literally everything I do is I'm going to win. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be sport. It's like I put on my GPS. It's like you will arrive in 26 minutes. I'm like, bet you I'll get there in 25.
Yeah. I can relate. I get it. Yeah, no, I'm gonna look. I took a minute off the time.
Yeah, no, I get so excited.
Get excited about it. That's great. So, how has? I asked this question to everybody right now because this has been such a screwed up year. And people don't even really want to talk about it, but I think it's part of what we're going through. It's what we've been through. Yeah. It's what we're dealing with. For me, it's been a terrible year. I'm so looking forward to 2021, hopefully coming out of all this crap that we're dealing with right now. But I know for training and everything, how has this affected you in your ability to not only get fights, but train? I think you had a couple bouts canceled, right?
I had like 6 canceled.
Yeah. And how does that play in your head?
2020 was supposed to be like, we had a plan. Yeah. And I fought once in February. It was a great fight. It was a war. It was awesome. And I just like couldn't wait for everything else that like got lined up after. Mm-hmm. And slowly they just started dropping like flies. And I was like, oh my God, we tried everything. We tried to do events where it was just like streaming only, like no spectators. We tried to do an outside event. Like we've been trying to do everything. And everything just keeps getting shut down. So pretty much our only option is to fight out of state at this point.
Yeah. And
it's like, for people that aren't in the UFC, that aren't there yet, we have to pay, we pretty much pay our own way, when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. So, in the pandemic with everything going on, like now we have to go, pay our own way and not even your way. Like you have to, you're paying for you're paying for your trainer, whoever else needs to get there and I'm off of work and whatever it is, it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah. I know a lot of fighters have been going down to Florida because Florida's kind of like, hey, whatever, we don't care. We're wide open. We're just like, they're having concerts down there. Right? I know. They're off the charts. But somewhere in the middle, I certainly think we've gotten way off the radar with the amount of restrictions that we've had. But I think somewhere in between all of this is actually the right answer. I don't know what that is.
Exactly. I don't think everyone should just be, it is what it is at this point, people just have to be smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
At this point, and like I feel, I don't know. It's a big. I guess it's like a big controversial thing about how I.
And nobody wants to talk about it. Like I said, it's one of those things where we don't. You don't want to say the wrong thing because you're going to offend 100 people on this side. You don't want to say the wrong thing because then you're going to offend somebody else. It's
exactly.
Like I've gotten a whole new mindset on this. I don't give a shit who I offend at this point. I'm just like
honestly, it's same at this point.
Yeah.
I don't even. I think closing gyms are stupid.
Yep.
I think keeping bars open, well, not restaurants, but like you had the liquor stores open, which I understand. Don't get me wrong. I drink too.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. I mean, and people were like, why are liquor stores open? I said, well, because if someone's an alcoholic and they don't have access to booze, they could die. So
yeah.
that could really happen.
That has alcohol in it and then they're gonna die,
Yeah.
But like I get that the liquor stores were open and stuff, but like the fact that gyms were closed, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's for me.
And
not even talking about the MMA gyms, like the regular gyms.
Any gym.
And now you have people wearing masks while they work out. That's a little ridiculous as well.
Yeah, well, but yeah, you can go walk around Walmart and
exactly.
You can go to any Home Depot. You can go walk around there. I mean, the rules. You can get on a damn plane. You can get on a plane with 200 people, but you can't go. You can't.
Right, like I'm getting on a plane on Sunday. Like
yeah, you can get on a plane. 200 people on that plane. Not even social distance at all because you can't. And
I love how they say that like you don't have to wear the mask if you social distance, but like when I'm not socially distanced, you're still making me wear the mask. Like if I'm in a supermarket, there's no one around me, you're making me wear a mask. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's stupid. Or wait, my favorite is the plastic that they put on the ATM on like the credit card.
Everybody uses that they don't change every time someone touches it.
What's the point? I laugh at all these stupid things.
Well,
and then you see the people with the glove and then they take their glove off and put it in their purse and you're like,
yeah. No, there's a lot of, I think we're finding out. I mean, like I said, this is a real thing. I've seen it firsthand. It's not, this is a terrible thing that's going on. However,
I'm not saying I'm just saying I'm not a real thing. I
know you're not.
Some of the rules and regulations just don't add up.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. The fact that my favorite thing in the world to see is someone driving in their car by themselves with a mask on. I love that. It's like, who are you going to infect in your car with your mask on?
Over the summer, funny story. I have a Jeep, so I was driving to the beach with my top off, like obviously not my clothing. My car top.
I was like, okay, we're getting a whole different place here now.
Nope, just the roof of my car was not. Yeah. And I'm literally on William Floyd Parkway. Okay, I'm not near anyone. Mm-hmm. I don't have a mask on. My windows are down. It's like 85 degrees. It's beautiful out. Somebody was like, you need to put a mask on. I was like, no.
Yeah.
I'm in the car alone. No.
Yeah.
That's not how.
I've had a similar experience. I was actually on the street by myself walking, and some lady, like probably 200 yards away, started yelling at me, mask. That's all she kept saying was mask, and pointing at me and walking towards me while she was pointing at me. I'm like, you're nowhere near me. You're going to walk to me to tell me I'm not wearing a mask.
The one thing I do like is the 6-foot rule. Like, I kind of like that people don't have to be close to me. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, when I'm in the grocery store and there's like, or any store, like online waiting to pay, and like that person's like breathing on your neck, like it's going to make the line go faster. I'm so glad now that I can be like, excuse me, back up, and like not be like a total.
Yeah. Yeah, well, now there's something in place that kind of reinforces the need to do that, right?
Yeah.
So, and I agree with you there on a lot of respects too, but I also do. I hope we come out of this and find some kind of happy medium somewhere where,
Same.
I mean, I'm done with masks. I'm actually vaccinated. I'm fully done, but
good for you.
Yeah, and I think, there's a lot of controversy around that. I had a friend of mine say to me, "Are you worried about them microchipping you?" I said,
there's a lot. Seriously.
I said, no, because I have a tinfoil hat. I said,
Yeah,
I'm not worried about it. No, I said, you have a cell phone, right? They already know what you're doing. If that phone is in your pocket.
Oh my goodness. People have, like their phones are like unless you have like an old school flip phone with like no, like I'm talking like late 90s, like flip phone, they know everything about you. I mean,
you gotta
right
go analog.
now, Mayo a lot in like 20 minutes, I'm going to go on Facebook and like mayonnaise is going to pop up.
Oh yeah. Everything we're talking about right now. Yeah. My phone's sitting right here. We're gonna all of a sudden it's like all this mask stuff or whatever the hell. Buy a mask here or whatever is gonna pop up on my phone. It used to freak me out when I'd get in my car and it would tell me how long it's gonna take me to get to my next destination.
I know.
How the hell does it know where I'm going?
I know.
Right? So,
you're like, what? How do you know I'm going there? I'm gonna go the other way. Like. Yeah.
But that's the point, though. You know, I mean, you bought into this, right? You bought into your cell phone. Nobody had to trick you into doing this. They just said, hey, want a phone? You know, and here you go.
House, like, it's probably going to go off now. But like, it has my alarm. Like, it knows what I order. Like, I get an alert on my thing, and it's like, your order is at the front door. I'm like, okay. Are you sure?
So in essence, they don't need to inject you with something to know what you're up to. They already know. But
you told them.
Yeah.
Went on social media and told them what you had for dinner last night. Like they know.
Well, that's the funny thing is the same people that are worried about that are the ones checking in everywhere they're going on social media. It's like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Shut off your location. Don't go on social media. If that's what you care about, do all those things so you're not on the radar. But so are you going to fight? Are you getting on a plane to go fight now, or is that?
No, I wish I was. I'm actually just like, I was supposed to be going to Aruba for a friend's wedding a friend of mine's wedding, but then with all the like travel restrictions that went into effect 3 days ago, that got tanked. So I had the time off. We had a credit to JetBlue, so we just need to go somewhere. So we're just going to Florida for a couple of days.
All right. Hey, Florida's a good choice. Whereabouts in Florida? You go down to West Palm area or Miami? Okay. All right. Cool.
Like, what's the war? We were going to go to Vegas, like just because. Yeah. But it's like 50 degrees there. I was like,
it's cold in Vegas this time of year. It's not. It's actually hot. It's hot during the day generally, but then it gets cold at night.
Yeah. I was looking at the temperature. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Now, Florida's probably
70. I'll do that, you know.
Florida's your better bet. You know, even people are like, I went to Texas and it was freezing. I'm like, yeah, because it gets cold this time of year in Texas.
Everywhere, because like I do tend to go to Florida more so than any other place. And you know, flights are cheap right now. I was like, wait, like where can we go for cheap? Like that I've never been to before. I was looking up Texas. I was like, nope. New Orleans. Yeah. I was like, Florida's my best bet. It's the warmest there. Like I just want to be warm. It doesn't even have to be like bathing suit weather. I just want to be warm.
And you could do stuff. Yeah. You know, it's not like you're going to, you know, that's my other thing. Cause I'm like, you know, right now I'm actually supposed to be in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean as well. Cause I spent a lot of time out in the water, you know, doing my thing with the diving and whatnot. But you know, I had to cancel this trip because I can't get people from other countries. It's not like I can't get down to Florida to leave. I can go. It's just I can't get the people that I had booked from Holland and Australia to here to go on the boat. So we had to cancel it. And we do it every year in January, every single year.
This is definitely something I honestly never thought I would live through. I'm like, you know, like it would just never happen. Not that I would live through it. It would just never happen in our lifetime.
Yep.
But I do have to say, like, a couple of good things for me have come out of COVID. So I try to like use that to my advantage.
Positive. Yeah.
I did actually change like my, you know, us fighters, we do have real jobs too.
Well, until you get to that point where you don't need to anymore, you're gonna, you know, that's the game. That's what happens, right? You know, so
I actually did get, I did start a new job. A new career, really. So I'm actually a legal assistant now. I used to work in a hair salon, so it's a totally different world from hair salon, you know, to a law firm. But it's definitely fun. I love it a lot, actually. I enjoy it all the time. I work a lot, but I like what I do, so it doesn't really matter. I did find a new not striking. Sorry, that was totally wrong. I've been with my gym for 11 years, but I found a new strength gym. while this was going on.
Okay.
And new strength coaches, and I absolutely love them. And I'm so excited that they're both like in my life now. So I've actually, I use it as a reset a little bit.
And I think that's the wisest choice with everything that was going on. I think, and even for myself, I mean, I get in my modes where I fight it and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. I hate this shit. And then I get in my other modes where I'm like, okay, I need to use this in a productive manner somehow.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's the wiser choice. Like I said, I think human emotion sometimes you get into it, because you're just, you're human, this is a really tough time. And I don't think anybody ever saw this coming, but like
not even the week before, I was like, 2 weeks, we'll be good. Now I'm like,
that's what I was saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Like that was a year ago. I can't believe we're still here. And like I said, like with all the fights that I had canceled, I mean, we had these all set up. Like I was so excited. I actually almost had anxiety because I was like, I'm going to be cutting weight like every 4 weeks. I feel like you're like, this is going to be rough. Yeah. And now I'm like, I miss cutting weight.
You are probably the only person
I know
that has ever said that.
I know. The funniest thing is I just started cutting weight in my fight career probably a year and a half ago. I never used to I used to fight at 125, but I walked
natural weight. Yeah.
And but then everyone else is cutting weight and they're getting really big. And striking, I don't care so much because that's my home. I like striking. Mm-hmm. I'm more comfortable there. But when it comes to MMA, when you got a girl that on weigh-in, I'll be weighing at 125. When it comes to the fight, maybe I'm 130. Mm-hmm. These girls are 140 something, and then they're laying on you, and it's a big difference. It is a big difference.
And that's a very controversial topic in combat sports and MMA too, because, there are people that would like to see weigh-ins happen right before you walk into the cage. For that reason, because, you got people that are walking
I used to
around.
fight that.
Yeah.
When we used to fight back in the day, I remember the first time somebody was day before weigh-in, and I was like, what? Why? Yeah. I used to fight when I was younger as an amateur. I used to literally fight once a month. And, whether it was in New York or we used to travel everywhere. I went to California, down to Florida, up to Buffalo, anywhere that had a fighter for me, I went. And I used to fight in every weight class. It didn't matter. I was an amateur. You were in headgear and stuff. Who cares? Get the experience, Yeah. And we always had day of weigh-ins. And I can remember people would not on me anyway, people would never not never, but there'd be so many people that didn't make weight for me. And I'd be like, oh, whatever. It's 2 pounds. Who cares? And everyone would be make them run for it. And I'm like, it's really not a big deal. It's 2 pounds. What if she's got a period? I was always that girl.
Yeah.
One
it's a strategy though. It's a strategy to bust their chops though.
I know, but I'm just I'm was never like that. Now I am. Because one time I was 0.5 over and they're run for it. I was like, you gotta fucking get me. All times I let people go. Now I gotta go run.
They're not letting you go, man. See, that's the strategy though. Make you go work. Make you go work. And that's a psychological game right there. That's
it doesn't matter.
Huh?
It just made me more mad at them. I was well, I'm gonna hit you that much harder.
Sometimes it works against you too, right? So
I was like, you're really going to make me run around Jamaica Queens in flip-flops? All right, guess I'm going to do it.
Well, I mean, the good news is that wasn't a whole lot you needed to drop. It's not like you had to drop 4 or 5 pounds to get there, I mean, that would have been a lot harder.
No, but during quarantine I have one bathroom in my apartment that is my weight cut bathroom. That's the only time I'm really ever in there because it's got the legit doctor scale. I have my bathtub in there. And on one of the shelves is all my my Sweet Sweat, my Epsom salt, all my weight cutting products, I literally go in there at one point, during the official lockdown. And I was like, I miss you. I haven't been in this bathroom in so long. I thought I was going to be here a lot. Now I'm never going to look at you again.
I'm going to tell you that's, for you to say I miss weight cutting, it's
that's bad. That's how bad it is.
Yeah. No, it's definitely rough. That's a rough thing. If you're missing weight cut, things have gotten tough. It's gotten serious in here.
I'm like, where's my tail?
Because like I said, that's, for a fighter, most fighters, when I talk to them about weight cutting, and I love that topic just because it is such a big part of the game. Because you see people walking around at 170 and they're making 155. It's like,
I don't know. I mean, I literally have to cut my leg off to go that low. I think 10 pounds, when I walk around at 128, that's still that's training all the time.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much eating whatever I want. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But when I cut down to 115, it's just a stricter diet. And then I usually do a water load, which is a new thing that I've
5-day water load.
It's amazing. I mean, I hate water. So that part is not fun.
It works.
No.
It works.
I still don't understand. I don't, and I freak out every time because you have to drink the 2 gallons of water with salt or whatever.
Yep.
And I bug out because I'm like, why am I gaining weight? And everyone's like, hello.
First day, 2 days, you're gonna gain and you're gonna drop like crazy.
So my teammate is Lionheart Jill, Jillian DeCourcy. She's an Invicta. My last fight in February, she was fighting the day before me. So we were literally a day apart on water loads and texting each other the whole time. Mm-hmm. And she's been doing it longer than me. This was actually my first time doing a full water load. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yo, I gained 8 pounds. And she's like, yeah, duh. And I'm like, I'm never going to make it.
Wait till day 4. That's all I got to say about that. Wait till day 4.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in the shower and I'm like, am I peeing?
Well, it's amazing. It's amazing what it does. It's only really healthy to drop about, the most you should really drop on your body weight is 10%. That's the most. And that's a heavy, that's still pushing it. But
I feel my last, I couldn't even cut 10% ever. Honestly, my last, I went to, DexaFit. Here's a little plug for them. They did a whole body composition thing for me. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're right on Long Island. They're pretty cool. They have this whole body scan thing for you. And I went there, it was probably 3 weeks before my fight. So, I wasn't cutting or anything, I was just eating clean, being healthy, working out a lot. And at the time, if I'm correct, my body fat percentage was 15. So, I couldn't have cut any. Yeah. There was no more.
There's nothing left to drop. Yeah, there's nothing.
Right. It's it's all a water load at that point.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like I said, it's amazing because it's really counterintuitive when you think about what a water cut looks like. It's day 1, you do 2 gallons. Day 2, you do 2 gallons. Day 3, you do 1 gallon. Day 4, you do 2 liters. And you basically drop it. But what you do is you get your body just wait, I got way too much water. Got to drop it all. And then your body just
first night of the gallons, and I was walking around and I was like, oh, now I understand what pregnant people feel like. I was my back, I'm waddling. I was oh, I get it now, guys. They're not even close. I'm no, this is it. My skin has stretched to capacity. I don't know what, I felt if you touched my arm, water would have come out. It was so crazy.
Yeah. No, it's definitely an interesting thing when people go through that because it's awful. It's awful, but it does work. It is a proven thing that does work. I don't know if you know Tony Ricci, but you probably do, right, Tony? Yeah. Great guy. He's he's the master at strength and conditioning and diet and all that stuff. And actually I'm going to probably have him back on in the next couple weeks again.
Awesome.
Yeah. He's always fun to talk to. But he, it's like I said, there's a lot of science that's based, real science.
Oh yeah.
Around all this stuff. To get somebody to wait and then to be able to rehydrate and get everything back working again perfectly by the time you got to go fight the next day without losing. That's the thing that I really kind of get to is cutting all that weight and fatiguing yourself and your body that way and then going to fight the next day. There's a science to getting yourself, keeping yourself healthy through all that. People have died in weight cuts. It's happened.
I don't cut that much weight.
Yeah.
I definitely get a little cranky during a weight cut. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But Jenny is actually, who you've had on your show before, is actually my number one, weight cut human. I made her come with me. And my last weight cut, we were cutting or whatever, walking on the treadmill and stuff and like chatting. And she's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "No, I'm great." Why? She's like, "Why are you the happiest weight cutter?" I'm like, "'Cause I get to fight tomorrow." Like, well, not tomorrow. Like I was like, I get to fight in 2 days. Like, how can you not be happy? Like, don't get me wrong. This is not the best thing ever, but I did the work before. So this isn't really that bad. Like, I don't love it, but I get to fight in 2 days. Like, of course I'm happy.
Yeah, and you know, Jenny's probably one of the most inspirational people I know. I mean, she can get you fired up. Her biggest thing is with me, she's like constantly saying, relax, because I get, you know, especially if I'm hitting pads with her, she's like, relax. You know,
yeah, she actually cornered me my last fight because my trainer was away.
Okay, all right, yeah, no, great person to have on your side, great person to have in your corner. That whole crew down there at Law MMA. I mean, I've had a lot of them on the show. You know, and Sarah Longo
there on Sundays. It was awesome. Like they're great.
Oh, they're great guys. I mean, Pumi Nakuda. I've had Naz on. I had all those guys. You know, a lot of people on. Diana Caravas. We talked about. She's got a fight coming up soon.
I know. I'm excited.
In March. So, and I know she's had a bunch kind of pull out and cancel and stuff on her. So.
I feel like she hasn't fought in a really long time because it keeps happening. I remember we were supposed to go to Atlantic City for one of her fights. And then like literally she was there and we were about to leave and her fight got canceled. And I'm like, I feel like that happens way more with girls than it does with guys. It's super upsetting. Like, I mean, just in the obviously not this past year. We can't blame anybody but COVID on that. But like, you know, before that, like 2019, I had like 5 fights that should have happened canceled. Like I usually end up double booking myself because like I know one of them's going to cancel.
You know, you know, as soon as you really do that though, they're all going to start happening. It's like, oh no, I'm fighting next week again. But
I don't care.
Well, it's like Figueiredo. How about him? He fought 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. Yeah. Quickest damn turnaround I've ever seen on a
I mean, when you get no damage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, that first fight was like training for him, but
it was like a little sparring day with like the new kid. Let's go.
The new kid on the block. But yeah, no, that's great. I mean, things are going to start coming up again. I just saw that CFFC is doing CFFC 92.
Okay.
I think Pumi's actually fighting in that. Down in I think it's the 2400 arena, so they're back in action again. They were for a while till Philadelphia shut down dining again.
Yeah, Jill's last fight was actually for them, I believe.
Who's that?
Jillian. She fought for them her last fight.
Yeah, no, they were holding it together pretty good for a while. I mean, they were gone for a minute, then they came back, and then Philadelphia shut down dining, so they had to move way out into Pennsylvania. So they went somewhere out by Lancaster, and then they came. Now they're finally coming back March 11th. So I'll definitely be at that show because I'm dying to be. I need to be back.
I know.
I need to be back in the game there, you know, because PFL canceled this year. I did a lot of stuff with PFL last year, you know, and they canceled their whole season this year. So hopefully they're making plans. I haven't heard anything yet, but hopefully they're making plans to come back. Invicta FC is going to have a great year, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah, I mean Shannon Knapp is gonna you know, I mean she's really the driving force behind that, and she'll make that work.
She will, absolutely. Like that whole organization, they are what they've done just for women's MMA. You know, bringing it to the front and center is just amazing, and how they just made this whole like me and Jenny. You can like talk about it with her. Like we always like joke around like, hey, like when we're done, like we're going to do this all girls thing and blah, 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 blah. And then like they come out with Invicta and I'm like, well, we can do something just like it, but different. Like,
well, hey, you know, and that's the thing. I mean, you know, Shannon Knapp has done an incredible amount of work and done great things for female MMA.
Absolutely.
It's, you know, there were a lot of people prior to Invicta saying that there, even early UFC, Dana White said early on, there will never be females in the UFC. Said that. And
I remember. And then like literally a year later, I remember seeing a thing for like the Tough House. And I'm like, what was it? The first women's one was like a 115. Was that like when it was like Felice Herrig and Carla Esparza? I think it was the one.
I don't remember. There's so many. They all bleed together for me anymore.
I know. That was, well, like for me, it was like the first girls one. So I was just like, I watched it for like I'm not a big TV person. And like, I'm actually like the world's worst fighter in the world. Like I don't watch fights. Yeah. I only watch my friends fight. So like, if I know you, like if I know someone that's fighting, I'll watch it. But like, if I don't know, like the last card, everyone's like, oh my God, did you watch that fight? I'm like, I was in bed.
I actually have the, what is it? The Ultimate Fighter Team Alvarez versus Team Gaethje ring cards hanging over me right here, which I believe was I believe that was was also a female driven, mostly anyway. I think there were a couple other people in it, but I think there were a lot of females on that card for the finale. So I forget which one that was. Where is it?
But I remember when he said that, and I was like, I'm like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And, you know, there's a lot of pioneer women out there and people might have their own opinions. But like, I have to say, like, Gina Carano was definitely one of the first females to like be able to break that barrier in like competition and in big name promotions. Also Ronda, honestly.
Yeah, you can't leave out Ronda Rousey. You know,
if it wasn't for Ronda, there would have never been females in the UFC. I don't care what, like, say whatever you want.
She was the first female UFC champ. I mean, and she would come out. She was
the first girl that caught Dana's eye. And he was like, she's an athlete. Like before her, he didn't see girls as athletes and fighters. Yeah. And
he definitely had a...
and that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? I think it's like anybody, though. You have to kind of say, okay. And the one thing I'm happy about is he did reverse himself. He wasn't like, say, you know what? Maybe I'm freaking wrong here, and maybe I need to look at this again. And he did. And you know, Ronda Rousey was the biggest star in MMA for a while at the UFC.
I actually was very privileged to watch her. I went to Ohio and I got to watch her first fight against Misha Tate at
it was a great fight.
Amazing fight. I had just had knee surgery and I didn't care. I was going. It was the same weekend as the Arnolds.
Okay.
You know, we're walking around that whole thing, and if you don't know what the Arnolds are, that's pretty much like big, huge, you know, bodybuilder like convention. It was giant.
Well, it's a huge powerlifting thing. I mean, people. That's when you see the records getting broken.
I'm on crutches with like a knee brace from my hip to my ankle, and I'm just like crutching around, and I'm like meeting people, and I'm like, you know, they're like, oh, what are you here for the bodybuilders? I'm like, I'm here for Ronda Rousey and Misha Tate, and like no one knew who they were at the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. People are looking at me like, what? I'm like, the fight on Saturday. Are you guys stupid? Like, where have you been?
Well, now Ronda plays video games, and people watch her play video games all day.
I wish.
What the hell's going on?
The things that people do for money right now, like there's like that, what is it, Twitch or something?
Yeah.
And like, wait, so if I knew how to play a video game, which I don't, but I wish I did. And these people play video games with like a camera behind them.
Yeah, oh yeah. I know people that do it. Money. I know people that do it. They make money. I
get punched in the face. Just pay me. Yeah. Okay?
Just give me some money. Just send me some money.
Me and Jill were actually joking around, and we were like, we should do like OnlyFans, but like we're just gonna like fight each other every time. Like,
it'd be interesting.
You know, like obviously, like, you know, like normal, like we're just gonna spar live, like pay for it.
You know what? People would probably pay for it. I'm
thinking they might. Like,
you know what you do? Here's the thing. I'm gonna help you out. She's
gonna totally kill me for saying that. She's gonna be like, why would you say that on an interview?
She'll be okay with it. It's fine.
He's still a Sharon manager, and I can tell you, the minute he hears this, tears be coming down his eyes. He's gonna be like, "Told you!" Like,
that's actually, you know what? Hey, it's not a bad idea. You set yourself up with a Patreon. You set yourself up with, you know, you put on a Patreon. People could donate. You don't even make them pay for it. You just have them donate, and they would. They would donate to my fighting cause. Get me to my next fight. That kind of stuff. Pay for me to get there. People would do it, be in my corner, that kind of stuff. You could do the virtual corner thing, I mean, that would be something that I would probably, that's something I thought of, and I can't believe I'm saying it live right now on a show, but I thought about this a while back. Why not be in my corner, virtual corner, put the corner people have cameras on, and
that's really
you're streaming that stuff out. Now, the only bad thing about that is the other side's going to hear you too, because they're going to be on there checking out what your corner's saying. But if you want, there might be somebody will subscribe to that stuff. You just you got to be creative.
Stop telling people your ideas right now.
I know. I got to shut up. I come up with too many and I just stream them out, and then, somebody else does it and then I don't get nothing out of it. That's what happens. But, hey, I mean, one of the big things, I just want to kind of go here because we're going to run out of time in a minit. But what, not like I really have to worry about it, but I try not to go over an hour on anything. But where do you see yourself going in the next? I mean, you got some stuff you're trying to get together here, get some fights organized. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
So that's another reason why I'm like a horrible human. I don't plan that way.
Okay.
I don't like to plan too far ahead, obviously, because every time I did, I broke my knee and plans changed.
Yeah.
So I literally just like to take it one fight at a time, like get through this fight, see what happens after that. Like I would love to say I have these big plans. Hey, where I go, wherever I make it is where I go. Everything I do, I just plan to do it right and do it big. So, I mean, whether I have 2 more fights or 20 more fights, it is what it is. Let's see who can get me on the cards. You know what I mean? Like, I'll do whatever. Like we've been looking into like getting into some more MMA. I did have some amateur MMA fights before I went pro as a kickboxer. So, I mean, we did well against top amateurs at the time,
I saw you armbar somebody the other day. What was I watching? I watched you armbar and take a win. Who the hell was it? Oh, God.
There's a couple of arm.
Stephanie Vargas.
I have like 2 arm.
Stephanie Vargas. You're fighting.
That was literally my first MMA fight ever.
Really?
It's a fun story.
Pretty damn good. You got her in an arm bar and then tapped her out from you were on your stomach actually. She was on her back. So that was a pretty good. I was like, wow, you got some jujitsu skills there.
It was the first time I actually put like jits and striking together. Yeah. And I remember she took we were on the ground and she hit me first, and I was like, oh my God, we could do that. Like.
I can hit somebody on the ground. Wow.
Like I was, you idiot. Like it's MMA.
Yeah.
And then also that fight was the first time I fought in a cage, right?
Yep.
So Chris Wade was actually in my corner for that fight. He trained me for that for a long time. Chris Wade and Chris Vamos were in my corners for that fight. And normally, like when you're a kickboxer, I don't know if anyone really knows the difference. Like you're in a ring, like you don't get locked in the cage. So the way your entrance usually happens is like you get like greased up and you go in the ring, you do your little dance, you go to the middle, you come back, that's when you like hug your trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Is right before you turn, like they ring the bell.
No, you do it before you get in the cage.
In MMA, like you gotta like do it. So they like grease me up or whatever, and I like just take off. And they close the door behind me, and I turn around and I looked at Chris Wade, and I'm like, sorry, I'll be back really fast, I promise. And like that's literally what I said to him. And then I think I won within like a minute and change of the first round.
Yeah.
And they opened the door and he's like, you weren't kidding, huh? And he's like, maybe that should be our new thing. Like, I'll just let you go.
Well, that's pretty damn good for someone who doesn't consider themselves a grappler, or you know what I mean? It's that's awesome. You consider yourself a kickboxer, and to submit somebody the way you did in that fight, I was impressed. I watched it last night. To be honest with you. I was like, all right, let me watch some fights, and I was scanning the internet for some of your stuff, and I was like, I got to have some things here I want to reference, and this was one of them. And I was like, wow, that's got some jujitsu skills there. There's a good armbar.
There's actually another fight of mine when I fought for NYFE, and I'm not proud of it, but it worked out in my favor. But I'm also a little upset with what I did. But it was
not proud of it. Don't mention it here because people will check it.
Everyone makes fun of me for it, and I find it hilarious. So at the end of the bit, like it was literally 25 seconds of the first round. I got a trip on the girl. I got her on the ground, and like I got full mount, and then the bell rings. I'm in the corner, and my trainer's talking to me. I have no idea what he's saying, because all I'm thinking in my head is, get her on the ground now. You'll finish it. Like, that's all I can hear. And this is one of the few times that this like happened to me. Like, normally I listen.
Yeah.
I was not listening. I did not care. I was pissed that it went the whole first round. And like, it was like a bull. Like, I was literally like seething. So we go back, bell rings, we go back out. I landed a couple of actually awesome shots. I get her against the cage, and I just this was like still the beginning of my jits, my whole like MMA, like jits career. I just couldn't figure out how to like get her off the cage and get her down.
Yeah.
I jumped guard in the middle of an MMA fight.
Okay.
I didn't know I did it until I watched the video. Like, I didn't know I did it. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know. Like,
when you're in the heat of a moment, it's hard to tell. Sometimes
I told you I was in that like red. Like, I was seeing red, and I literally jumped guard, pulled off a sweep into an armbar, and I watched it like after, and I was like, who was that girl doing jits? Like,
no, that's awesome. I mean, even in the Stephanie Vargas fight that I was watching, she came out, it looked like her game plan was to get you on the ground. Yeah, she took you down almost immediately. She shot, dropped you to the ground, and then did it again once you got back on your feet. And I don't think that was a great strategy for her, because it did not work out very well at that point for her. Because
like at first, like I was like the first takedown, I was a little, like I told you, I was a little shell shocked. It was the first time I was really putting it together. I never did MMA sparring, And then like I was like, oh yeah, we do this now. And then we got back up. She took me down again, and I was like, all right, like now I got to do what I learned how to do last week. Or
you got to tap into that jiu-jitsu skills and do the groundwork, the grappling. But yeah, that first one, she took you down pretty hard. I felt that.
Yeah.
When I saw you go down, I was like, ooh, that didn't feel good. But I mean, you came out of it really well. I enjoyed that. Even though it was a short fight, I enjoyed watching it. I always like watching people do the groundwork. I love striking too, but that's, I've always had a first love for grappling stuff and watching the grappling, and it's like a chess game. It's like a chess game. Well, that's why, I sometimes go to Law MMA and work with Jenny on the pads, because striking is not my thing. I've gotten a lot better at it, but striking is definitely not my. What's that?
She's the one that's going to get you better. She's awesome.
She's phenomenal. She's, like I said, one of my favorite humans in the fight world. And she's definitely an inspiration. So real quick, is there anything you want to plug? Anything coming up? Any websites? Anything you want to put out for people to try to find you?
Well, you can find me on my social media. My Instagram is Chrissy The Doll. Also on Twitter. I'm trying to grow that. So, everyone come on over and follow me there. It's Chrissy Yandolli. Anything I want to, or how about just someone get me a fight? That'd be great. That's what I'm going to plug. I'll fight at 115. I'll fight at 120. We could do kickboxing. We could do K1. We could do MMA. Just get me a fight.
You guys heard it. She wants a fight. And you know what? We did this with Diana a while back too, because she was looking for a fight. So I will put that clip out as well, because I want to see you get a fight. I want to see you get a fight. I would love to see it, and hopefully we could start being places again, and I could actually come see some of these fights in person. I'm really excited about some of the things opening back up again. So that'll be awesome.
If I can get to Diana's fight, I will be at Diana's fight.
Yeah. Anybody who could get there should go. I don't know if they're going to stream it. I have no idea, but
I'm sure they do. Triton usually does. So if it's on Fight Pass or something like that, I don't know if it will be, but it'll be thing. Because even my last fight was actually for Triton, and I do have a lot of like out-of-state fans that couldn't get to the Paramount. So a lot of people streamed it, and they said it was one of the best streams that they've ever seen. And that was like a pro amateur card. It wasn't even an all pro card.
Well, I think a lot of people, I've been watching a lot of amateur and like kind of like the lesser known, promotions, streaming, and the streaming has gotten a ton better because that's all we got, right? So I think this year, one of the good things to come out of this, I think, is our social media game has gotten better, and I think our streaming has gotten better. And
I'm kidding.
What's that?
Social media and social distance, like for strangers, not for my friends, but like the guy in Walmart that's standing really close. That guy went away, so that's
that guy went away. Yep, no doubt. So there's some positives to look at, and I think we're going to see a cool thing happen in the next couple years because we're going to find a balance between all of this. You know, anytime you look in human history, and I'm going to close with this. Anytime you look through human history, and there's been and I'm a huge fan of history. I love. I'm actually listening to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History right now on his podcast. Just a plug for Dan, but it's a phenomenal podcast, and he's talking about the kings of Persia and all this stuff. But anytime you see in history where there's been a time of trials and tribulations and just difficult times throughout the world or in an area of the world, it's usually followed by a renaissance. So, you know, when you
need that.
Yeah.
Even before this, we needed that.
Yeah, and we need that right now, right? So we'll hopefully we'll get that renaissance. But guys, check out Chrissy on all the pages that she just mentioned. I will also put that in the bottom of this when it's finally up. This will be streaming tomorrow, but the actual audio version will be out a couple days later. So check it out. You know, look forward to seeing you fight again. Thank you so much for coming on.
For having me,
and we'll have you back on when you got some fights happening.
When my next fight's lined up, and I'm gonna give you a couple weeks. You know, I'm gonna be back. I'm like, hey, I got that fight.
We'll put you right back. Hey, if you get a fight in the next few weeks, we'll put you right back on. We'll talk about the fight. We'll talk about where you're going. This was a fun interview for me. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming on. You're a true class act. Really good person. Really awesome. And I can't wait to see you fight again. So let's make it happen.
Yes, let's make it happen. Come on, guys. Get me a fight.
Be good.
Thank you very much.
All right.